And West Michigan's U.S. Representative, Republican Peter Meijer, a former Iraqi war vet and worked in Afghanistan, having a hands-on role on some of the progress that was made there.
Political reporter Rick Alvin in studio right now with the congressman.
Congressman, thank you for taking time to do this. Busy schedule for you, but this is such an important moment because we're seeing in real time what's happening in Afghanistan, something you and I have talked about previously as you knew this was coming. Tell me what your view was when the drawdown was announced and what some of your concerns were, because both of those have played out here to some degree.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. When the drawdown was announced, there were a couple of key conditions that we had discussed. I mean, one was that this would be a negotiated withdrawal, that it would move towards a political settlement, a unity government that would probably not have a strong central government, but would allow more autonomy for the provinces, but something that was a lot more fitting to where Afghanistan should be. And the reassurances we had time and time again were that we will have months, if not years, as we are negotiating this transition. And as you clearly saw, from the first provincial capital that fell, Zaranj in Nimruz province, to when the Taliban were in the presidential palace and President Ghani and Vice President Saleh were in Tajikistan, that was 8 days. 8 days.
Is this a matter of an idea whose time had come after 20 years of American occupation, but an execution that for whatever reason did not play out the way everyone or those who planned it expected?
You know, I think we're looking at massive failures on the planning side, on the intelligence side, and on the strategy side. To your point, there was a lot of support for the withdrawal. I supported the withdrawal. The question isn't, was the withdrawal something we should have done? That is a question that can be asked, but the president spent his entire speech defending the idea of the withdrawal rather than owning up to the absolute failure of implementation and execution that has led us to this point today.
You have an unusual perspective because you have been there. These are not just pictures on a television somewhere, as it is for so many of us. What is your greatest concern as we see not provinces with some autonomy, but it appears a breakdown of government in general? What are your concerns about the people in that country?
Yeah, to be clear, right now there is no negotiated political settlement. The Taliban are victorious. The Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan has risen again. So any leverage that we had is gone. My biggest fear right now, we have tens of thousands of Afghan civilians at the airport right now. We have thousands of American civilians and soldiers at that airport. We need to secure that airport. We need to get people out. And we need to also work to make sure that those who are going house to house right now looking for safety, the interpreters, the drivers, soldiers that we trained that are being hunted down by the Taliban, we need to get them out. And there are folks at the airport, there are plenty others in Kabul who can't get to the airport, and there are many, many more outside of Kabul who are stuck because we had given them assurances. We had a plan, and the plan was based on terribly faulty information.
I'm going to ask you to weigh in on this, perhaps because you have been there, because you've been in the military. Obviously, you're a member of Congress, and you may be able to weigh in on this when you head back next week. There are 6,000 troops that are headed back on the ground now to try to secure the airport. That's a lot of troops around one airport. Are we going to need to send more troops back in to make this work in a more streamlined manner?
I don't know that we have the answer to that right now. I think at this point, we should not leave any option off the table. We should make sure we're planning for every contingency, because it's clear with how quickly things collapsed that we didn't, that the Department of Defense and the intelligence community did not anticipate this, that President Biden did not anticipate this, or if they did, they dismissed it as an outlier possibility and didn't actually have the backup or the plans set in place.
Congressman, as always, we appreciate your time. You came in here on a very busy day, short notice to do this live. We appreciate you being responsive. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.